I don't know what's happening at Miami right now. It's gotten really uncomfortable down there. Now, the Canes won yesterday over NC State, 31-30. Strange times, though, in Coral Gables. Those of you close to Miami, you've followed this drama the past week, but those of you who may be in Topeka, Kansas, I doubt that you've been following this. Blake James is the athletic director there. And he's been under fire for many reasons, both amongst the fan base and now the media, locally and regionally. He did a little, very, very selective, might I add, a little media tour. Kind of unscheduled, just decided to go talk to some folks, and this is called CYA, for those of you in the real world. He had a CYA tour last week. You can figure out the acronym for those of you unfamiliar. And he essentially tried to distance himself from Manny Diaz. He also did not promise anything beyond 2021. And here's what it was. What it was essentially the Remember the Titans scene. Lose a game and they'll fire you. But he didn't say that. But it was left to be understood by pretty much everyone, including myself, that if Manny Diaz lost yesterday, as ridiculous as this is to let it come down to one game, if he lost yesterday, he was probably going to be out. Okay, well, they won by 1 point. Is Manny Diaz really a different coach? Answer is no. But when you have someone who may not be the most equipped to be making these kinds of decisions, it can come down to that. Do you know what the difference in a football game sometimes is? Sometimes it's 6 inches to the left and right of an upright. A field goal kick when you're down 2 at the end of the clock. If it's 6 inches this way, 6 inches that way, it makes no difference in what kind of coach you are. But there are some decision makers out there that based on that 12-inch difference would decide whether you're good enough to lead their program or not. So apparently that's where we are at Miami. My whole take on that is I'm going to ask you guys at Miami, because I'm as interested to get your responses here as anyone. What do you think Miami's really ready to do here? Because I look at Miami, and I've felt this way for a couple of years now. I have felt this massive detachment between their history, which is the reason most of us know about them, and the current administrative culture there. To me, the administrative culture is not in lockstep whatsoever with the fan base and the tradition and the history. Those are two totally different mentalities. Those of you who have been around for a while, or maybe you've just watched the documentaries and you're younger and you hunger and thirst for the days when that you meant what it used to mean, I don't think you guys think the same way at all as the administrative types down there. Well, where rubber meets the road here is when I hear an athletic director like Blake James talk like he was talking. You could tell me all day. He could have even come out and just straight up said, if Manny Diaz doesn't win today, he's fired. I don't care. I don't really, the team played hard for him yesterday, so they haven't bailed on him. Has the performance been good enough? No. Has recruiting been good enough? To me, no. But if you get rid of him, what comes after that? Because everybody's idea down there was the same. And everybody nationally, if Manny Diaz, if you had a headline as soon as I went off air tonight, Manny Diaz fired at Miami, everyone's idea is the same. It's Mario Cristobal. That's who everyone wants to go after. Why is he leaving Oregon for Miami? And I say that knowing he played there. I say that knowing his entire family lives in South Florida. Even with those advantages, I'm asking you, why would Mario Cristobal leave Oregon for Miami? Because my assumption is the program, the university, the decision makers there, I don't think have it in them to put a strong enough offer in front of Mario Cristobal to entice him. And that's independent of whether he'd even entertain it anyway. I'm saying even if Mario Cristobal was open to it, I don't get the sense that they're ready to make it worth his while. The fan base would be, obviously. You know, if you were to get, I know they honored the 0-1 title team yesterday. If you had them in the decision-making room, you know, it's a different story. Well, they're not in there. Guys like Blake James are in there. You know, and he's not the only one. Let me be clear. But those folks, when you start talking about the kind of salary you have to pay and then the kind of staff that you have to dedicate and the resources that you have to allocate, when you start talking about all that stuff, I'm telling you, you as a fan, you know, they're in St. Petersburg, you may say, yeah, okay, let's do it. They don't. They don't. You know, if you're Ed Reed from that team back in the day and you hear that, you say, yeah, of course, that's what the big boys do. The administrative types don't feel that way. At least that's the feel that I get. Now look, I'd be happy to be wrong there. Good Miami is good for college football. I firmly believe that. And you know my philosophy on recruiting in South Florida and how Miami or Florida State or Florida or a combination of the three, locking down a little bit more of the in-state talent would go a long way in evening out the balance of power in the sport. But it's not happening right now. And maybe it won't happen under Manny Diaz. I'm just asking, in lieu of him, who are you bringing in there? I'm not asking the fan base. I'm asking the fan base, who do you think your administration is capable of bringing in there that could make a difference? To that, my answer is I don't know. I'll cross my fingers and hope for the best.